The gunshot shattered the calm of the afternoon like a lightning bolt from a clear sky. In that one deafening crack, lives changed forever. Officer Daniels, a veteran with 20 years on the force, watched in horror as his canine partner, Rex, the fearless German shepherd who had saved more lives than anyone could count, collapsed into his arms, blood soaking into his uniform. People screamed, officers swarmed, and at the center of it all stood a young man with shaking hands and hollow eyes, the smoking gun still clutched in his trembling fingers. His name was Lucas, and the second he pulled that trigger, his fate seemed sealed. Before we go any further, if you believe in second chances, in the loyalty of animals, and in the power of kindness to heal even the deepest wounds, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. It helps us share more stories like this one with the world. The world turned into chaos around the scene. Officer Daniels was on his knees, cradling Rex as if trying to hold his life inside by sheer will. "Stay with me, buddy. Stay with me," he whispered through tears. But Rex's breathing was shallow, his eyes blinking slowly, as if sleep was calling him too soon. Other officers wrestled Lucas to the ground, cuffing him as he stared blankly ahead, almost as if he himself didn't believe what he had done. He didn't fight back. He didn't speak. He just whispered one thing over and over: "I didn't mean to." To everyone on that street, Lucas was now nothing but a monster, a cold-blooded criminal who had shot a police dog. But what they didn't know, what no one yet understood, was the story behind that gunshot and how it would change every life it touched. Lucas had once been a promising young man, top of his class, a gifted mechanic, and a devoted son. But life has a way of breaking even the strongest spirits. 2 years earlier, his father, a decorated veteran, had taken his own life after battling depression and PTSD. The loss shattered Lucas's world. His mother spiraled into illness, bills piled up, and Lucas, angry at the world and drowning in grief, turned to the only people who offered him a way out, a local gang. At first, he told himself it was temporary, just a little money to help his mom, just a few small jobs. But darkness has a way of creeping deeper than you plan, and soon Lucas was in too deep to claw his way back out. The night of the shooting, Lucas had been forced by the gang to be the lookout for a drug deal he never wanted to be part of. He didn't even know the police had been tipped off, and when the sirens screamed and the flashing lights flooded the alley, panic swallowed him whole. He ran, Rex chased. In those desperate seconds, cornered and terrified, Lucas pulled the gun he'd been given, not to kill but to scare. But his hands shook, his heart pounded, and the gun went off. One shot, one mistake, and Rex fell. The city erupted in outrage. News headlines branded Lucas a cop-hating criminal. People demanded justice for Rex and Officer Daniels. He shut himself away. Rex was more than a dog to him. He was a partner, a hero, and his only family since his wife had passed. Every night, Daniels sat in silence next to Rex's empty kennel, listening to the echoes of paws that would never run to greet him again. But Rex wasn't gone. Against all odds, the bullet had missed his heart. After hours of surgery and a week of uncertainty, Rex woke up. He was weak, scarred, and needed months of rehabilitation, but he was alive. And Daniels made a vow that day he would see justice done. He would make sure the man who hurt Rex never saw the light of day again. Lucas, meanwhile, sat alone in his cell. He refused food. He didn't speak to anyone. But one night something broke inside him. He wrote a letter, not to the court, not to a lawyer, but to Officer Daniels. In shaky handwriting he confessed everything. The pain of losing his father, the desperation, the regret, and above all, the crushing guilt of what he had done. "I wish I could trade my life for his," he wrote. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I'm sorry." Daniels read the letter dozens of times. He wanted to hate Lucas, and he did. But somewhere, beneath the rage, something else stirred, the faint echo of the man he used to be, a man who believed people could change. Months passed. Rex slowly regained his strength, though the limp in his hind leg never went away. Daniels and Rex returned to duty, but something was different now. The bond they shared had deepened, forged not just by work, but by survival. And then one day, Daniels did something that shocked everyone. He requested to visit Lucas in prison. The first meeting was tense. Lucas couldn't even look Daniels in the eye. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he murmured. Daniels stared at him in silence for a long time. Then, with a voice heavy with pain, he asked one question: "Are you willing to make it right?" Lucas didn't hesitate. "Anything," he whispered. So began an unexpected journey. With Daniels' support, Lucas joined a prison rehabilitation program that paired inmates with abandoned dogs to train and care for. At first, the irony was unbearable. A man who shot a police dog now tasked with saving dogs no one else wanted. But slowly, something changed. The first time a terrified, abused rescue dog wagged its tail at Lucas's gentle touch, something in him cracked open. He spent hours training, feeding, comforting, and healing these broken animals, and with each one he helped, a piece of his own broken soul began to mend. Months turned into a year. Lucas transformed. He became the most dedicated participant in the program, and for the first time in years, he felt purpose. When Daniels visited again, he brought Rex with him. The old German shepherd, scar still visible beneath his fur, walked slowly toward Lucas. Lucas dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, voice shaking. Rex looked at him for a long moment, and then in a gesture that broke every heart in the room, the dog pressed his head gently into Lucas's chest. It wasn't forgiveness in words, but it was something deeper, something real. Daniels, watching the scene, felt a weight lift from his heart. "Rex trusts you," he said quietly. "Maybe one day I can too." 2 years later, Lucas walked out of prison, not the broken boy who had entered, but a man determined to live differently. With Daniels' help, he got a job at an animal rescue center. He dedicated his life to saving and rehabilitating dogs that others had given up on, just like he had been given a second chance. And every year on the anniversary of that terrible day, he visited Daniels and Rex. They weren't friends in the traditional sense, too much pain still lingered. But they had built something stronger: respect, understanding, and the shared knowledge that healing is possible, even from the deepest wounds. Life rarely unfolds the way we plan. Mistakes happen. Pain lingers. But sometimes, out of the darkest moments, come the most powerful stories of redemption. Rex never fully recovered his speed, but he continued serving with Daniels for several more years, a living testament to loyalty, resilience, and forgiveness. And Lucas, the man who had once taken everything from them, became a voice for change, helping hundreds of dogs and inspiring countless people with his story. And maybe that's the greatest lesson of all: forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's choosing to believe that even the worst moments can lead to something beautiful. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of second chances, the loyalty of animals, and the beauty of forgiveness, please like, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional stories like this to life. Special request: in the comments below, tell us, do you believe people deserve a second chance, even after their worst mistake? We'd love to hear your thoughts.